Hi, and welcome to episode 17 of Soft Signal. My name is Varun. I'm joined by Aditya. And if this is your first time checking us out, we're a cricket podcast. We talk about primarily Indian cricket um, every week. And if you have checked us out before, thank you so much for continuing to watch us, bear with us, and listen to us. Not the best day. I mean, there was so much promise going into today, but it just turned out to not be too cliched, but it was a damp squib.
Yeah, exactly. It's so disappointing, right? I mean, I woke up this morning
Yeah,
looking forward to what should have been uh, an amazing day of Test match cricket. Two results possible, um, and
we got the
uh,
third result.
and we got the third result exactly. I guess it's England, right? So maybe
Yeah,
that the third result is also always a possibility if you look at it from that sense. But there was so much that could have happened today. Would have been one of those cliffhangers, as they call it.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it just turned out to be a damn squib, as you said. Um, and yeah, a disappointing, a disappointing end to what was a very good Test match, actually.
yeah. I mean, it had all the makings of a classic day five. Uh, we India needed 157 to win, 9 wickets in hand, which on the face of it seems easy, but it was cloudy conditions. Jimmy Anderson, we all saw what he did in the first innings, so it would have been a close match. I think maybe might have probably won it, but it would have been close.
It would have been close. There would probably have been the usual stuff, right? A session or a passage of play where two quick wickets would have fallen. England would have come back.
Yeah,
Then a partnership. Then one batsman sort of hanging around, scoring a very crucial 50 or a 60, partnered by somebody who would have scored a very crucial 20, um, and India would have won. On the
yeah,
other hand, it could have been like Jimmy Anderson, 5 wickets again,
yeah.
supported by Ollie Robinson, Sam Curran, who knows? So all these things were possible. Either ways, independent of the result, it would have been a great spectacle. It would have
Yeah.
been an amazing day five to watch. But yes, it wasn't to be.
I know. Well, on to the next one. We'll hope for better things there. But let's talk a bit about this match. So, starting with the selection, and I actually texted you on the day of the first
Yeah.
morning that you got the selections pretty spot on. I think you stuck your neck out in the last episode and said Shardul Thakur should be selected ahead of Ashwin, and that's exactly what they went ahead with. And I just read some of the post-match remarks, and Kohli said that a 4-1 combination, four fast bowlers and one spinner, is what they probably going to go ahead with for the rest of the matches. So, I mean, I'm assuming yeah, that's what you were advocating for as well. But were you surprised by they went ahead with that?
To be honest, I'm not surprised in the end that they went ahead with it, because you look at what happened in the World Test Championship final, and I keep bringing this up. Um, None of our main three bowlers swing the ball that much, and in English conditions, you need somebody to be able to pitch it up and just get it to move away slightly.
Yeah,
And of the lot, Shardul Thakur is the only guy who does it. And then he's the amongst the lot. He's also the best batsman. So you can't have Umesh Yadav, who also does something similar, by the way. You can't have him in the team because then you would have Mohammad Shami batting at number eight.
yeah,
So you can't have that. So I think it's necessary for Shardul Thakur to be there in the team. And of course, Jadeja simply is a better batsman than Ashwin. So I think he's going to get the all rounder spot at number seven as well. I think the team combination was the right one. I
yeah,
genuinely think it was the right one. Also, Shardul bowled well in both the innings,
yeah,
right? So coming on as the fourth seamer, picked up two crucial wickets in both innings. He looked he looked good. It's not sometimes you have the fourth seamer coming on and leaking runs, going at 4.5 runs and over, and that kind of reduces the impact of the other bowlers. But that was not the case with him, right? He kept it tight, picked up two wickets in each innings, looked threatening as well, beat the bat. So I think he did his job. Did get a duck in the first innings, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I still
Yeah,
think he's a better batsman than Ashwin, and I still think he should play the next test match.
yeah, and better batsman, and more so, he's also like you said, like he's the bowler we need. Rather, we don't need two spinners. Like Jadeja was underutilized as a bowler in the match, so why do we need two spinners? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, Jadeja again showed how valuable he is. Right, he pretty much like his 56 was so like I don't think we could have a lead of 95 that we got was really not on the cards, especially when after day two, when we were 120 for four, and then Pant got out pretty soon on day three. Yeah, I didn't think we would get that lead. So it was actually very valuable innings by Jadeja, and he's showing his worth again.
Yeah, Jadeja's transformation as a
Yeah,
reliable batsman has been amazing. I was reading some article a few days ago, and he's I think in since 2018 or 17, one of the 2 years, he's averaging in the mid 50s in Test match cricket, and that's amazing, right? That's amazing for a batsman who's batting at number seven. There
yeah,
have been the odd occasions where he's even batted at six. Um, but to have somebody contributing like that down the order is extremely good. And then, of course, don't forget the fact that he's giving you overs as well,
yeah,
right? Of course, in these conditions, he's not going to bowl too many overs, but he's doing a job of the 10 to 12 overs that you would need from a spinner in these sort of conditions. He's doing that. And then, of course, who can forget his contributions on the field, right? A gun
yeah,
fielder, extremely good in the circle, extremely good even in the outfield. So Jadeja is really an important member of this team, and I will admit that 5 to 10 years ago, I wouldn't say 5 years ago. Let me put it this way: 10 years ago, I would never have imagined
yeah.
Jadeja as being one of the important members in India's Test squad, right? So I think he's come a long way, and he's really proving himself to be a really important player for India.
Yeah, there's the whole Sir Jadeja thing, and
Yes,
there were
that
so
craze.
many jokes made about him. But I mean, he's come out of it really well. Good for him, and good for Indian cricket. Um, what just a quick note on England selection, because we had actually both predicted that they would go ahead with five bowlers, especially since they don't have Stokes, and they went up with four. And out of the four, at Broad in the second innings he was bowling well, but in the first innings he was not that great. Neither were Curran. It was pretty much Anderson and Robinson. And so I don't know if they should include another bowler, but then because their batting is other than Root is also so brittle, so it's a bit of a difficult situation for them as well.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for them. Although I would still advocate the use of a spinner. I
Yeah,
think uh, I think the bowling. I think England's bowling attack was. I think they got away with the fact that the weather conditions in this Test match were so overcast and there was rain around the whole of the Test match.
yeah,
I think um, I think India did not get a chance in the first innings to bat under completely blue skies. So they kind of got lucky, I would say, with the conditions. If you remember, there was a period on day three, or was it day four? I think day four when England was batting. Firstly Root and Sibley, and then Root
yeah,
and Blesto, and they were batting in bright sunny conditions, and it was difficult even for India's bowlers.
yeah,
Uh, so fortunately for England, they did not encounter such conditions when they were bowling for a long period of time. So that obviously then didn't shore up the lack of a fifth bowler. Um, but I think going forward they need to solve that problem. I think they need five bowlers. Maybe that warrants a debut for Craig Overton. I think it is
yeah.
the replacement of Ben Stokes. Maybe they need to try him, but I think it's risky even for England to go in with just four bowlers. Um, Even though they've got Jimmy Anderson, who was amazing again.
Yeah, I mean that ball to get rid of Kohli was just top notch. I mean, as painful as it was to watch, that collapse was, but that yeah, those two. 2 wickets. It just completely changed the complexion, right? We were 97 for no loss, and Rohit Sharma got out for that unnecessary shot, I think, and then all of a sudden 112 for 4. So it just shows like Anderson at the age of 39 now, still like delivering and being the leading the attack. It's unbelievable to see, for sure. Uh, let's move on to India's batting just for a bit because we touched upon it a bit. We actually had a good opening partnership for the first time in a long time in an away test, and I think a lot of that was down to Rahul. He wasn't even supposed to play the match. Mayank Agarwal had a concussion, unfortunately, so but he was actually the star batsman in the first innings. I think he held one end together really well, even after the collapse. He was assured he was dropped a couple of times, but I think he was unlucky to miss out on a century.
Yeah, I think sometimes you know we end up looking just at the number of runs scored
Yeah.
by a batsman in their innings. But with KL, of course, we did look at that. He scored 84, excellent. But at the same time, it's the way he got those runs, right?
Yes.
And I saw quite a large portion of his innings this time, and he just looked so comfortable at the crease. Um, let's of course bear in mind that these are swinging conditions. He is going to edge a few. It just happens in England, right? It's going to happen. So give him that. But I think overall he just looked so comfortable. He seemed to have a lot of time. He was playing some good shots. He was leaving well. He was defending solidly. I think it looked like a really really good batsman, which KL Rahul is, by the way. He is really a good batsman, and a lot of us feel surprised when we see the fact that he's still not established himself fully in Test match cricket. He has in the white ball game, but not in Test match cricket. And hopefully, this is the start of him actually establishing himself as a red ball player as well. Because I do feel that he's again too good a player to not play all formats.
Yeah.
And if you remember back in 2011, he made 100 in Australia, opening the innings. I think it was in
I
his
think
second
14
test
there was, yeah.
or 14, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14, 2014. Sorry. So I mean, the guy can obviously bat.
Yeah.
He's got quality, and I'm kind of happy to see him to have seen him bat so well. Of course, that makes selection for the second test match a little bit complicated. But at this point, I don't see Mayank coming back into the team, unless, of course, one of Rohit or Rahul continues failing a lot in the second and third and fourth test match. But um, I'm actually happy that KL managed to get some important runs in difficult conditions.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question actually about Mayank Agarwal now because feel bad for him. He wasn't the first choice opener in Australia. It was Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi Shaw failed in the first test. They got Gill in. Now Gill was out of the England tour. They thought he finally is going to play. He got concussion. Now Rahul played and performed. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be selected either. But I do feel sorry for him. It's just bad luck, one of the
Yeah,
other.
it's really bad luck. I feel sorry for him as well because not too long ago he was the first choice opener.
Yeah, without reviewing before Rohit Sharma, right?
Even
Yeah.
before Rohit, and it's not like it was 5 years ago. It was, I
Yeah.
think, it was like 2 years ago probably. He
Yeah.
was he was the number one opener, and then suddenly he lost form in New Zealand, and everything just changed. Rohit
Yeah.
Sharma got a few runs, and then of course Prithvi Shaw, Shubman Gill, and all. But yeah, I feel sorry for him. But I think I think India's talent pool is so big at the moment that everybody's just got to wait their turn.
Yeah. And I don't see any changes also in the batting order at least. Like I know we've been there's nothing we have against Rahane. I'm sure he's a great person. He's played some great innings for sure, but just not been the same player. He doesn't even look confident. Like he got run out,
Yeah,
but even before that, he almost got run out. He was just so fidgety. So it's a sign of nerves as well. And for someone who's played like more than 70 test matches, to be that nervous, and it's not something you expect, really.
I don't know how they're going to treat this topic of Rahane.
Yeah,
It's a tough one because the thing is that not only has he been a good player in the past, but he's also India's vice captain at the moment.
yeah.
So you can't just. It's difficult, or I wouldn't say you can't drop them, but it's difficult to drop the captain or the vice captain sometimes.
And he was the captain just now, right? In that the
Yeah,
most famous Australia series. So there,
exactly.
it's that recency bias also.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. But I think if you were to go purely by performance, then there is a problem there. Except
Yeah,
for the 100 in Australia, he's not been consistent enough. I was looking at some stats the other day. After 70 odd test matches, like you said, he averages 41. I think he scored 4,700 runs or something. Um, I think that he should have done a lot better at this stage, by this stage of his career, than those numbers. Um, and Yeah, we all know that he's quite a resolute kind of guy. Doesn't come across to that, but he is. Uh, from at least what we hear and read. But I think it's a tough one. I think the pressure is really on Rahane, and honestly, if he doesn't score this series, I think there are guys waiting in the wings. There's Vihari, right, who looks solid as well whenever he gets an opportunity, but then he's not in the top five batsmen. So
yeah,
unless Rahane is dropped, Vihari is not going to get a chance, and you can't keep that happening forever. So
exactly. So, and even Pujara, honestly, I know he's been good, but yeah, he's not. I don't think his place is assured as well. They haven't had anyone play because these three have been the mainstays of the batting order. So we don't know who can be tried and tested at that level yet. But I'm sure there are plenty of batsmen waiting in the wings to take over.
yeah, I mean, let me ask you this question. For Pujara, do you think his batting style is actually suited to English conditions? And I say that because he's the kind of batsman who keeps waiting till the shine goes off, till the ball gets rough and old and loses its bounce. But in English conditions, especially nowadays, with the pitch having something in it always, and overhead conditions is always drizzling and raining, the ball is always doing something. So if he waits like this forever, he's
Yeah.
never going to score runs.
Yeah, and he's going to get everyone else under pressure,
Yeah.
which, like, I was reading that in the chase today that he would just try to hold up one end and then people would just try to play shots and get out, especially if it was a shorter match, like if we had only 40, 50 overs today, he would have that was a real danger of that happening. So yeah, I don't think his game is particularly suited to English conditions for sure.
I mean, in Australia, I can understand, right? After some time, the ball gets old and it stops doing too much, and then he can
Yeah,
capitalize. But in English conditions, you don't get the chance to capitalize. So
that's true.
it's a bit like Dom Sibley, right? The other day, even when the sun was out and the ball wasn't doing anything, he wasn't really getting
Yeah,
any runs, and eventually he gets out for 28 in like 120 balls. So,
really boring player to watch for sure. But yeah, let's go on to our bowling, and we've talked about Shardul Thakur and a four-man pace attack. I think they all really bowled well at different points. But the star of the bowling attack was definitely Bumrah with 9 wickets in the match, four in the first, five in the second. Really good to see him back. I think there were after the World Test Championship final, especially a lot of people were. I mean, I think it was more social media driven, not really considered by the people that matter. But yeah, there was a lot of talk of him not being the bowler he was, and maybe he should be dropped to make way for Siraj, which then they both ended up playing. But yeah, I'm really happy to see him back in action and among the wickets.
yeah, exactly. Actually, I said it in the preview, right? That I was not sure about Bumrah's effectiveness
Yeah,
post his injury. And the fact is that he has not picked up so many wickets post his injury, and batsmen seem to be kind of playing him much better. But I think the way he bowled in this test match proves that he's he's not just operating on the fact that he's got an awkward action, because players with awkward actions and mystery spinners and stuff, they pick up wickets, they do well until the mystery unravels. But and that usually unravels in a year or 2 years. So they look the part for those 2 years, and then after that they just fizzle away. I'm happy that's not happened with Bumrah, because that would have been the talk, right? Unusual action, batsmen have just gotten used to it, so okay, flash in the pan. But that's not been the case with him. He's gone for more than played for more than 3 years now in Test match cricket. He's gone through an injury. He's come back and he's shown that he can still be effective. So I think that is the sign of a really great or good bowler. Somebody who can come back from injury, someone who can come back from being figured out, let's say, or gotten used to. So I'm happy that Bumrah's done that, because that means that he's here to stay for a long time, and he's not just one of those, flash in the pans, plays for 3 years and then just becomes like any other bowler. I think Bumrah's proved again that he's a special bowler for
Yeah.
India.
And I think especially for the way he ended the innings in the second innings, because it was they were 6 down, and then Sam Curran came in and started playing some shots. Root had got his 100. He could have easily carried on. I mean, 50 ultimately got washed out. But if it hadn't, they could have gone on to a target of like 250, 300 and shut us out of the game almost. So that Bumrah coming in and getting Root out and then pretty much wrapping up the tail was, I mean, that's something that that we missed in the previous tour. So it was good to see. And don't forget Bumrah's 30 with the bat. It was such a pleasant surprise, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you had a chance to see the pull shot, which
Yeah.
he pulled away for six. It was a proper top order shot. Even the sound of the ball hitting the bat was really nice to hear. It was like a proper top order shot, and it came against Sam Curran, who's a decent bowler himself. So that's two things happened in this Test match, right? Two things that we kind of touched upon in the preview. Um, we were able to dismiss their tail twice cheaply,
Yeah.
and our tail wagged. And we pointed this out as being a problem for India, wherein we are unable to get the opposition tail enders out, and our tail doesn't wag.
Yeah.
So actually, in this Test match, the exact reverse happened, which is a good thing, and finally long overdue, because it's really been a long time since this has happened in one Test match at the same time. And of course, the impact is there to see, right? When this happens, that you don't end up letting the opposition off the hook. You're always in the game, and more often than not you're ahead of the opposition in the game. So yeah, good to see that happen. I hope it continues for the rest of the series, though.
I hope so too, yeah, because England's batting is really not that great. I think they need to figure out a way to get rid of Root, because he's just been in sublime form this whole year, even in the India series. In India, he scored the double hundred, and yeah, he's definitely been there. I think he scored 1/3 of England's runs or something. I was reading the other day. So it is a battle of the bowling attacks, like I said before the series. So then I think this first Test match has proved that to an extent. So let's see how the next one goes. Very quickly, we'll have a separate episode where we preview the second Test. But any immediate concerns or changes that you see India need to make?
Uh, so I don't see any changes in India's team for the second Test match. Although I did hear on air that Shardul Thakur might have a niggle.
Oh,
I
okay.
hope it's a niggle that can be sorted quickly, because if Shardul Thakur is out of the next Test match, I think India will have no option but to play Ashwin.
Yeah, because
Uh,
no one is. They have to have a
yeah,
number eight who
they
can
need
bat
to
a bit.
have they need to have a decent number eight with a bat. So I think India will have no option but to play Ashwin. Um, and of course, that doesn't mean Ashwin's a bad bowler, but the combination is probably not ideal. Then two spinners in English conditions, do you really need them at
Yeah.
Lords? Probably not. Do you want Ashwin batting at number 8 again with his? There's been chatter about him regaining his batting form, but I'm still not convinced. I don't
Yeah,
think he's regained his batting form uh, by that much of an extent. So I hope Shardul Thakur has not developed a niggle, and I hope he can play the second Test match. I think we alluded to it in our preview about the fast bowlers being rotated. But I think they probably, at least for the second Test match, will not rotate any of them. I think because uh, I think it's too early in the series to rotate the fast bowlers, and also they played 4 fast bowlers in the first Test match, so they're probably not going to
yeah,
be that tired. So I think they'll keep the same team. I don't see any changes in the batting as yet. We
yeah.
spoke
They
about
should be,
Rahane.
but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Rahane, but I don't think there's going to be any change. Also, we just batted one complete inning, so it's still too soon. So I think India will go in with the same team unless Shardul Thakur is unable to play. I think England, though, they need to make some changes in their 11.
yeah,
They need a spinner, I think.
yeah, and maybe Hasib Hamid comes in. We'll see. For Burns or Sibley, they can either they're the same. They can. It doesn't matter who you get rid of as long as
Exactly.
uh, you get rid of one of them. But yeah, we will talk more about the second Test match in a few days. But yeah, this was a entertaining Test match to watch for sure. It was a very disappointing end, but a great start to the series. India England series are always very hard fought, especially the last few years. So this hopefully has the makings of another classic series. Thank you so much for listening to us in this episode, and we will be with you soon previewing the second test.
Yeah. See you soon, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well.